Okay, so I was grappling with whether I wanted to do this video, but because I don't have strong feelings either way, but I decided I'm going to do it anyway. So the movie was fun, it had its moments. The beginning was a bit. I get it that they want to get people up to speed for those who aren't familiar with the Fantastic Four and who haven't seen the million other origin story movies that had come before. But it was longer than I expected. And now I can see why they cut out, like, John Malkovich's part, because it would have made it even longer. However, having said that, this movie suffered from pacing issues, which seems to be the general problem with Marvel lately. Pacing. We either go into way too much detail, like the speed run of the Fantastic Four origin, or we go speeding through. Like 1 minute Sue Storm just finds out she's pregnant, and then suddenly she's very pregnant. And I realize that there's a time jump. I get that. Especially when they're in space. At least then they said it's been a month since the Fantastic Four, went up into space, and then they're back. So at least we have an idea of how much time has gone by. Obviously, we have a pretty good idea of how many months this movie takes place because Sue Storm is pregnant. And if we're going by real world rules, she's probably at least 2 months along, if not more, when she finds, well, maybe possibly 3 months, but most likely 2. And then suddenly the whole world knows. Now, unless they're playing fast and loose with pregnancy statistics, in the sense that the pregnancy statistics in the real world don't apply, I would think that they would have waited a month. Get through the first trimester, and then the chances of a miscarriage go down. So, but it would be really, really nice if, okay, like Galactus, it just went from point to point to point. It's like it wasn't a seamless transition. First they meet Shia LaBeouf, and then it's, okay, let's, fix this. She comes back. It just seemed like it was very choppy. Well, maybe not choppy, but it was just a lot was happening, boom, 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 boom. It was, you really didn't have time to digest much, if anything. So, yeah. I do like this cast. I agree with the person I saw online who hates Pedro Pascal for making her like Reed Richards. And I have to agree, because Reed Richards is a jerk. But the same thing was with Tony Stark. He was a total jerk in the comics, and yet Robert Downey Jr. somehow makes him lovable. It's like, no. Why are you making me like this person? And I liked Iron Man comics. I like Fantastic Four comics. But Now, as longtime viewers of my channel will know, I haven't really read comics since early 80s. So, I might so maybe things have changed in when it comes to the Silver Surfer and the dynamics between them and Galactus. And that is that um I was under the impression that Galactus himself picks planets, and the Silver Surfer is literally that they're just a herald, and they just, warn people shit is coming, and just shrug their shoulders and leave, as opposed to actively choosing planets. So, it's sort of like the Celestial situation, that he acknowledges, oh, this planet has a lot of yummy energy that I need to feed off of. I'm going to destroy that planet. As opposed to the Herald doing that job. So I'm confused about that. I mean, again, maybe things have changed in the comics that I'm not aware of. Let's see. What else? Um, I enjoyed that the woman who seems to have a thing for Ben has working eyes. She isn't blind, unlike in the comics, where his now wife is blind. Because I get it, they wanted to hammer home that she really does not give a shit about what he looks like. But there are sighted people who fall in love with a person's personality, or their accomplishments, or their brains. They don't necessarily fall in love with what they look like. All you have to do is listen to all the people in the real world who, like, what is she doing with him, or what is he doing with her? As if looks are the end all be all to humanity. So I get where they're going with that, but sighted people can not give a shit about looks too. So I like that they had a sighted person, because she sees what Ben looks like and still does not care about what he looks like. She seems to just dig him for him. Let's see, what else did I want to mention? The ending confused the hell out of me. Now, it's great that Johnny figured out that the Silver Surfer is Shala Bal. That's great. However, and obviously, him confronting her with all the planets that she helped destroy by picking them out, except for her own planet. Her own planet was spared because she sacrificed herself to become his herald, become the Silver Surfer. But she sacrificed herself for Johnny. Johnny was going to sacrifice himself and send them both, him and Galactus, to the ends of the universe, just so Galactus couldn't get to Franklin. Okay, why did she take his place? Was it because she felt guilty all of a sudden that she was... I mean, I don't know why she suddenly felt guilty. I mean, did she not think about it before? Or because they had the evidence of the sheer panic and she was long gone by then? So she didn't hear it? I mean, I don't understand. The other thing that was annoying is that Galactus mentioned that Franklin has the power cosmic. Now, none of them know what that means, yet they're confident that he is a normal baby and doesn't have powers. If you don't know what to freaking look for, how do you know? I mean, I get it that Reed is the smartest man alive. I get that. And that's one of the things that's really, really annoying about him. And Pedro did a great job of doing that. This cockiness that he has, that I'm the smartest man alive. So, of course, can solve anything, and everything I do is, going to get the answers we need. So, being humbled by Galactus was a good thing. However, still, very annoying that. And so Johnny wanted to sacrifice himself. It's like, take me, not the kid. And it's like, did you not listen to what Galactus said? Franklin has the power cosmic. Now, it would have been nice if, one, we heard Galactus's backstory. He gave such a shortened version that things like, when he smelled pine trees, Johnny was shocked. Well, if he bothered to, I mean, granted, they probably still wouldn't have given up Franklin. Actually, highly likely they wouldn't have. However, at least they would have had an understanding of who Galactus is. He needed Franklin to use the power cosmic so he could feed. So he wouldn't have to destroy planets anymore. Which is a noble thing. He doesn't want to be the destroyer of worlds. He wants to be able to feed his endless hunger in a different way. And he figured that using the power cosmic would do that. Now, whether that would end up draining Franklin dry and killing him is a different story. But at least there would be some understanding. I mean, isn't that what we do with villains lately? Is that we give them a backstory that makes you not necessarily root for him, but at least you sympathize with them. And they hinted at Galactus's origins by pointing out that he precedes this universe. Okay, it would have been nice if they just let Galactus tell his backstory. He kind of sort of did, but it was so cryptic that none of those four numbskulls caught on. But, mention who he is, who he was, and how he came to be Galactus. So when he was smelling pine trees, it wouldn't have been as much of a shock to Johnny, because he would know that this used to be a man. He did say he used to be a man, but, more of a backstory would have been nice. I'm pretty sure that ended up on the cutting room floor, but the way the four were acting after the fact, I don't know how much of an understanding there was. So if it hit the cutting room floor, it did, because the idea is these people are not supposed to understand shit. Let's see, what else did I want to mention about this movie? Um, let's see here. We finally got a decent It's Clobbering Time, so I'm really, really proud of that. I'm really happy about that. Most of it was from the cartoon, but Ben finally got to actually say it. Um, I'm not sure why he chose the time he did to do it, but okay. Um, let's see. I wonder, I've heard in the comics. Now, this is spoilery, and I'm sorry, but I heard in the comics, recent comics, that Ben actually figures out how to control going into rock form. So I wonder if that's going to happen anytime soon. Or they're going to go with classic thing and have him kind of broody over the fact that he's in his rock form and pining for the fact that he doesn't look human. But I really do think he's going to figure it out rather quickly, because I am assuming that they're going to want to, because they actually did show a lot of Ebon Moss-Bachrach as a human. I'm going to think that they're going to want to do that again. And there's only so many ways you can do that. So I'm thinking that he's going to figure it out in short order. Let's see. Now, I watched this on Disney Plus, and I was zooming through the credits just to get to the post-credit scenes where they showed the cartoon. They showed Doctor Doom coming to ostensibly get his face healed by Franklin and probably abscond with the kid. But I did not see the same post-credit scene that was in the Thunderbolts. That scene was taken out. I did not see it. So either they took it out because people were pointing out that the scenes don't match with the number of fins on the ship, so they just decided to drop it. Or I accidentally went too far, but I don't think I did. I was paying close of attention. So yeah, I had only two post-credit scenes: the Doctor Doom absconding with Franklin and getting his face healed, and the little cartoon. Let's see, what else? I'm really, really curious if they're going to continue on with the fact that Sue Storm was healed by the Power Cosmic. If that's something they're going to continue with in Doomsday and Secret Wars, or they're just going to reset the universe and it's all going to be forgotten. Sort of like a lot of the post-credit scenes, which have been either changed or dropped. So these are storylines that go nowhere. Let's see. I love the chemistry of them. I definitely love their chemistry. They definitely seemed like a family. Johnny and Sue definitely seemed like brother and sister. I was rather annoyed that Johnny was really trying hard to say, hey guys, see, I'm smart too. I can do shit. And he's just pushed aside like, oh yeah, you're just a kid, you don't know what you're doing. We have other things we're doing, and Johnny's like, guys, listen to me. So that was rather annoying. Um, Relatable, very relatable, but still annoying. Um, let's see. Now, what also when Harvey, I guess is his name, the mole man, he when he came to visit because the Fantastic Four came up with this idea that everyone is going to, evacuate to Subterranea. He had just told Harvey that he's not safe. That's where Galactus starts, is in the underground. Then why are we evacuating people there? I mean, I get why, because Galactus is going to go for Franklin, who is going to be above ground. I do understand that, but I just found it hilarious that, oh yeah, he starts from the middle and works his way out. So we're going to send everyone to that middle. I understood why, the why people were upset with the Fantastic Four, because they thought that they were choosing their kid over the planet, which is understandable. However, it's like, Sue came down, did a speech, this is Franklin, and we see you guys as family. We aren't prioritizing our kid over you. Yes, we're not giving up our kid to save you, but we're not giving you up to save Franklin either. The idea that they're going to work to save both. Um, Again, maybe, they could have come to a better understanding if they knew why you needed Franklin. But considering at this point they don't understand what the power cosmic is and refuse to accept that Franklin has it, I'm going to say no. No, they wouldn't have been able to come to an understanding. Um, but they still did a humane thing by sending Galactus to the other ends of the universe, because there are still planets to consume there, I assume. Um, and yeah, there were moments in this movie where I was absolutely bawling. I was crying so hard. And I don't know if I would have done this normally, or if it's because it's been almost a year since my father passed. But yeah, it really hit me. Because I can be pretty weepy anyway, so it could go either way. Let's see, what else did I want to mention about this movie? Um, hmm. Let me think. Yeah, this movie could have been a bit longer. There were moments that could have been fleshed out, like Galactus mentioning his origin story. Because again, the way villains are portrayed nowadays, it's not just them being a cartoonish villain. There is a reason behind their actions. And in his case, he did say that he didn't want to consume planets. I would think then that Reed, if he, had any modicum of understanding of what was happening, as opposed to must save planet, must save sun, maybe, the smartest man alive could have found a way to help Galactus without sacrificing Franklin. But no. No, that didn't happen. I don't know how many of these characters are going to end up in our universe. Because, well, obviously, the Fantastic Four does. Doctor Doom does. Franklin, of course. But does Mole Man? Does that girl that Ben likes? Um, does their assistant? Did they? I assume they took Herbie with them. I don't know. Um. So yeah. Um. Let's see what else did I want to mention about this movie. um. hmm. I did find it cute how Ben was basically the comic relief. I mean, Johnny to some extent, but mostly Ben. You know, like um Herbie house proofs baby proofs the house, and Ben has issues with the baby proofing because like Ben falling down the stairs because a gate is put up, because Ben couldn't be bothered to pay attention to where he was walking, or that Herbie locked the cabinets in such a way that Ben had to rip the cabinets off. um or when they had to cut out the power and Ben was shaving, which I thought was an interesting touch, that Ben still could grow a beard, just a rock beard. And so he didn't have a full beard, which now we know why we saw that in certain scenes. Now, I might be wrong, but did Galactus cause Sue to go into early labor? Because that's how I saw it. Which, so she has the kid. Ben catches said kid. No umbilical cord. Um, I assume that the baby's a preemie. I don't know when she was supposed to go into labor, which I would have liked to have thought that the four geniuses would, not want a 9-month pregnant woman to be going into space. It's one thing to be pregnant, it's another thing to, be ready to pop at any moment. So, I don't know. My understanding is that Galactus caused her to go into early labor. It's just a matter of how early was the labor. So yeah. Because if it's early enough, then you have to go to the ICU, the NICU, you have to go to put the baby in an isolette or something to make sure that the baby is fully developed. I should know, I was 10 weeks preemie. So, let's see. What else is there? Oh, yeah. How the hell can Johnny... I can understand how Johnny can hold Ben because he's made of rock. Makes sense. But how can Johnny save the average person by carrying them? Wouldn't they get set on fire? I do not recall Johnny ever carrying someone in the comics. So, yeah, that was weird. And of course, there's this whole Johnny's in the dead of space and he has no problem getting his flame on. Last I checked, you need oxygen for that. How is this possible? I mean, is this planet oxygen rich? Is that why it's okay? I mean, I guess they were breathing without their suits, so maybe? Um, let's see what else. I think I covered everything I wanted to in this video. So, with that, I will see you guys in the next one.